Hey guys, my name is Mike Boyd, this is The Money Flair, and in today's video I want to go over my recipe for how to grow wealth in the long term. And a lot of YouTubers like to talk about this, so it's definitely not the most original topic for sure, and I'm also not a millionaire or super wealthy, but I have had some financial success, and I've done a lot of study on the topic, and I figured I might as well share my strategy for building wealth. And I'm sorry for bursting anyone's bubble, but it doesn't include going all in on AMC weekly options. So I believe there are three core tenets to building wealth for the long term. They are increasing your inflows of money, reducing your outflows, and compounding the difference to the best of your ability. So in other words, maximizing your income, minimizing your expenses, and getting strong investment returns to compound that wealth over time. And so it's really not rocket science. As a theoretical concept, it's as simple as that. Obviously, in practice, it's much harder to do, and so I'll get into each core tenet specifically to give some of my thoughts on how to best tackle each one. First, on increasing your income. This one is the most important because it can have the greatest impact on your ability to generate wealth. Sometimes I often think that some people who study markets to be day traders would be better off investing that time and effort into figuring out how they can increase their income rather than their investment returns. And this is coming from a guy who actively trades and tries to get the best investment return possible. Now, I'm not going to touch too much on entrepreneurship because, let's be honest, being an entrepreneur is not for everyone, and most people shouldn't try to be an entrepreneur and start their own business, as much as everyone online likes to say that you should. Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, often likes to say that people who work for money are losers stuck in the rat race, how getting a career is not what you want to do. Don't work for money, have your money work for you, all that kind of stuff. While I agree with a lot of that, we have to also be realistic and honest. Not everyone will want to be a real estate mogul or start a business. Some people just want careers and find passion in the more standard day jobs. And so my advice is to have a steady source of income, first of all, but always look for ways to expand that income. Either find ways to progress in your career and negotiate for raises, or look for alternative sources of income. The list is endless, and giving a one-size-fits-all recommendation to, let's say, start a business just doesn't work for everyone. So have a concrete plan for how you can envision a path to increasing your income. Think about it. Look for another job, or start to develop on the side a business idea that you've always wanted to try. Monetize your skills and knowledge using platforms like Fiverr, or create content on a blog or YouTube or podcast. Do what interests you and what can keep you striving to achieve success and increase that income side of the equation. There are plenty of resources online and on YouTube for ideas on how you can do that, so I'll leave it at that. Secondly, on decreasing your expenses. This also has a huge impact that most people don't immediately think of because little expenses seem small in the present, but over time they add up to a lot of money. So for example, let's say that you typically order food 3 times a week and it costs you $60 for those meals. And let's say you could save $15 a week by just reducing that number by 1. So just cook more. So instead of ordering 3 times a week, you order 2 times a week and you save $15 a week. Well, not only will you most likely see health benefits, you'll also be nearly $4,000 richer in 5 years and $16,000 richer after 20 years. So only by saving $15 a week by cooking more. Now, this is a very crude example, but you get the point. Small expenses in the present seem small right now, but they add up to a lot over time. Saving $20 a week is saving $1,000 a year, and it's the equivalent of increasing your income by $1,000. Of course, there are limits, and I'm not the type of person on YouTube who advocates for living super frugally and living in your car to save as much money as possible. There's a healthy balance between enjoying your life and saving money, and it's important to have a plan for reducing your expenses because most people probably waste more money than they should over a lifetime. The most useful way to start is to simply start tracking your expenses and creating a budget. So I like to use the app Mint, which connects to my credit card and bank account, and it categorizes each transaction into a separate budget. But you can use any other app like that. Tracking your expenses is a really useful first step for seeing where you might be able to trim some fat and save money on things that aren't necessary. Being aware of how much you spend in a month can often be a pretty shocking exercise, and it would probably get most people to reconsider their spending habits. In the same way, creating a budget for yourself will allow you to stay disciplined and delay gratification going forward. Assess what you truly need and what you don't, especially for the recurring expenses. My rule of thumb is that if it's something you haven't looked at or used in 6 months, it can probably go. And be sure to create a budget that falls in line with your desired lifestyle and goals. So if your goal is to retire by 45, then by all means live in your car and do whatever you need to do to reduce the expenses to a bare minimum. Like maximizing your income, you should minimize your expenses in a way that works best for you. And be careful not to scale up your expenses if your income goes up. The point is to increase the difference between the two as much as possible. So doubling your income but then tripling your expenses isn't the most useful. And a lot of people who get a sudden surge of money often lose it all this way. And finally, what we have left is the area that I'm most focused on with this channel, and that's compounding your savings over time. And I already mentioned in previous videos how powerful compound interest is. It starts slow, but then it really picks up as time goes on. So in this case, time is definitely your friend, and so the earlier you start to get on track, the better. Those first few years of building wealth and letting it grow are so crucial. So there's no better day than today to start thinking about how to invest and grow your wealth. How you want to achieve your investment goals is entirely up to you. If investing in the S&P 500 is more your thing so that you have time to focus on increasing your income, for example, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I'm pretty sure you're guaranteed not to lose all your money going that route. But as I've said many times before, investing passively in the market is never a sure bet. And I personally would much rather be actively investing during these crazy times that we're in, not only to protect my own wealth, but also to ideally maximize my gains. Because over a lifetime, every percent of compound interest matters. And it's also really rewarding to analyze markets, look at charts, and to feel like I'm in control of my wealth. So for anyone looking to do the same, I think the most important thing you can do on your journey to building wealth is to learn about investing. Don't expect a few stocks to make you rich. This is definitely a long grind, but it's so worth it over the long run. So I'd recommend absorbing as much info as you can on markets and investing. And ideally, keep watching this channel. I'm going to try and do my best to provide interesting and useful content. But overall, always keep learning, because knowledge is power in finance. And I think everyone is much better off having a greater understanding of investing and markets and how to manage their own money, not necessarily to manage it on their own, but to be better able to understand when meeting with a financial advisor, for example, or a portfolio manager, just to be able to grasp concepts in finance better, because it can often be a really dry and hard topic to understand. So more financial literacy is always good. So those were my 3 core tenets of building wealth. It's really simple in concept, but much harder to implement in practice for sure. And this channel is definitely focused more on the final tenet of investing your wealth, but there are so many other resources for addressing the first 2 of maximizing income and minimizing expenses. I'm just much more interested personally in markets, and so that's why I love to research and talk about that. Making money work for you is important, and so I'll continue to produce that kind of content going forward to hopefully help anyone on their own journey of building wealth. So that's it for me today. Thank you as always for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Stay safe in these crazy markets, and I'll see you at the next video. Take care.